Now, the first thing I want to dive in is another type of condition we could be interested in. Up to this point, all those conditions simply were combined with an and. So we looked for books with a rating lower than 3 and a title that contains story. But what if we want to have either of the two? What if we want to find all books that either have a rating lower than 3 or a title that contains story? Or maybe we want to find all books with a rating lower than 3 or that are best-selling. Currently, we have no way of expressing such a or, but it turns out that Django also has got us covered for that. For this, we just have to import something else. We have to import from Django db.models the Q class. That's a special class Django exposes to us, and this allows us to write queries, that's what Q probably stands for, that also contain an or and not just and combinations. Hence, you also don't need it if you don't need an or. But with that, we can, for example, search with objects filter for rating lower than 3 or is best-selling by simply wrapping our condition in the Q constructor now. So we instantiate Q, and now to that constructor which we call here, we pass rating lt3, and then we don't add a comma, but instead the pipe symbol to add our or condition, which is best-selling equals true. And that basically tells Django that we want to find all items, all data entries, where the rating is smaller than 3 or is best-selling is true. And that only works if we use that Q class here. And I have an extra parentheses here, which I don't need, so let me remove that, and now it works. And you see I get back a query set which basically contains all books here, because for this condition that indeed makes sense. This condition matches all books. Now we can also combine this with an and again, simply by adding a comma and then Q, and then simply, for example, check if the author is J.K. Rowling. And if I hit enter, I only find Harry Potter, therefore. So for a or, we combine our Q checks with a pipe symbol. For a and, we use a comma. We then also can omit Q here for the and condition if we wanted to. So here I can get rid of this Q call, not for the or conditions, but I can get rid of it here, and it would still work. There's just one thing you have to be aware of, and that is that if you use and conditions combined with some or Q conditions like here, and you're not using Q for your and condition, you're not wrapping this condition with Q, then this has to come after all your Q conditions, so to say. So this keyword argument has to come after executing your Q conditions. Put in other words, it would not work if I try to move this in front of my Q condition. Here, if I check for author equals J.K. Rowling, comma, and then my Q checks, this would fail, as you see. And that's just something to be aware of. You'll get that error anyways if you try it. I just wanted to show it to you so that you know why you might be getting this. But with that, you can build queries with and or. And with that, we're almost done with the queries. Now I just want to have a last look at them for now, and I want to talk about performance.